Having poor subcontractors is such a disgrace.
You're out of place. Go home.
Not long after arriving at the social gathering, I was coldly dismissed. The other attendees looked uneasy, witnessing the arrogance of these two. It's only shameful to associate with such rude and vulgar people. Understood. We've had issues with this client before, and it might finally be time to reconsider our relationship. As they demanded, I decided to withdraw from the social gathering. The next day, I made a call to the client. It was a critical delivery day, costing a significant $20 million. Everyone expected the business to proceed smoothly. But in business, a single command can change everything. And I was the one to make that call, which gave me a slight shiver. The part scheduled for delivery today, please cancel. This cancellation led to a major problem. The two who behaved so poorly at the event faced a miserable fate. I am Mike Johnson. I'm a 43-year-old business owner in the IT equipment leasing business. It used to be a real estate company leasing warehouses, but my father decided we needed to diversify. My father, a keen businessman, noticed the low IT literacy. Old school executives tend to think it's enough to just handle a computer. But nowadays, the speed of communication and services can drastically improve employee efficiency. For instance, improving communication speed by a minute saves a minute in all tasks, which excites executives and managers. My father insisted that we should focus on IT equipment and services to transform traditional paperwork-heavy jobs. As my father planned, the IT equipment leasing business was a huge success, growing to work with many clients. Even though he was my father, I have to admit he had great foresight. After that success, he retired contentedly, and I was chosen as his successor. However, this succession marked the beginning of many challenges. I've always been good at studying, but talking to people was not my strong suit, making sales a struggle. But as the CEO, I had to show up in crucial moments and handle the sales work I was not good at. Despite my difficulties, I had a meeting with a client that made me even more apprehensive about sales. The client, Dean Corporation, mainly handles IT equipment installation and maintenance. We have had a very long business relationship since my father's days. Especially concerning was the sales manager, Ken Hunter, who knew my father and held significant power within their company. I had heard that if he didn't like something, the business relationship could abruptly end.
I've treated you as equals out of respect for your father, but that changes now. We can drop subcontractors like you anytime, so be prepared.
Ken had risen to the position of manager thanks to successful deals with my father. Despite owing my father, he belittled me, his son. In this world, given the right conditions, you can entrust tasks to other companies. Yet Ken, obsessed with hierarchy, acted superior, making me feel uncomfortable. Adding to the discomfort was the presence of a woman next to the manager. She looked like a model, but despite her polite words, she belittled others.
Just being able to greet Manager Ken should make you grateful. Normally, he wouldn't even make time for this.
Her name was Emily Reed, and she was nothing but an annoying nuisance to me. The manager boasts about her high abilities, but I've never seen her do anything beyond fetching tea. She just agrees with the Ken's decisions, and that's the only so-called competence she shows. Ken just grins foolishly in her presence, which is frankly creepy. It's likely that they are dating or something, which is why she's given special treatment. Watching them, I couldn't help but wonder, Isn't the internal structure of the client company already corrupt? I don't think he's the kind of person who can be trusted with an important part of the company. He's just flaunting his power and is totally unsuitable as a business partner. The thought of being forced to deal with this manager in the future made me feel hopeless. Despite feeling down, I continued dealing with the manager. And one day, we received a complaint from a client company. The IT equipment they leased from us had mysteriously broken down, and they urgently needed it fixed. In the past, we had relied on Dean Corp to handle breakdowns and replacements to be prepared for such incidents. However, for some reason, on that particular day, the representative from Dean Corp didn't go to the client. This resulted in a full day's loss of work, causing the client to consider legal action due to the significant loss incurred. To get to the bottom of the issue, I went to Dean Corp and asked Ken Hunter about the situation, but he feigned ignorance.
We haven't received any such calls.
No, that's not possible. We have records showing the call was made. Our company's call logs confirmed the call was made by our staff. Despite the evidence, Ken denied it, which made no sense, and I tried to press him further, but it backfired. If you keep insisting on these non-existent facts, we'll have to reconsider our future dealings, Ken said in a threatening manner. I was left speechless, appalled by the sloppy handling of the situation. I was so stunned by the sloppy handling that I was at a loss for words. Problems continued to arise, and complaints kept increasing. Different IT equipment was being installed than what was agreed upon, and after maintenance, internet connections would fail, making me realize something was seriously wrong. Unable to ignore it any longer, I headed to Dean Corp to ask Ken about these situations. However, Ken shamelessly pinned the blame on me.
We have no faults on our end. I've received reports that the setup and maintenance were perfect. Are you trying to tarnish our company's reputation?
There's no benefit for me in damaging our client's reputation. If he could just tell me the reason behind the issues, I could address them. But Ken's refusal to acknowledge the problems and his complaints about my company and our clients made me doubt his management abilities. Should we continue doing business with Dean Corp? My employees suggested it might be time to reassess our relationship. Currently, over 60% of our work is handled by Dean Corp. Recently, we've also received job requests from government agencies, increasing the scale to $20 million. Given the volume of our dealings, it's perplexing to be treated so poorly. I wanted to preserve as much of my father's legacy as possible, but I might have reached my limit. I was troubled about how to deal with our business relationships. Around that time, I got an invitation to a social party because a young CEO's company was going public. I was thrilled by the unexpected opportunity and promised to attend. It was a large networking event with many industry professionals. Just being able to participate made me happy, thinking it would raise my company's profile. I was filled with hope that this event might bring in more business from different areas. But things didn't go as I had hoped. On the day of the event, I arrived at the venue earlier than expected. Yet, some industry professionals were already having a meeting at the venue before I got there. Just as I was hurrying to join, I heard a familiar voice behind me.
Isn't that Mike? Were you invited too?
It was Ken and Emily. With all the ongoing issues between Dean Corp and my company, our relationship has deteriorated. We're struggling with constant customer complaints. The last person I wanted to see was Ken, but he called out to me.
Are you planning to attend the social gathering? Maybe you should focus on improving your management instead.
Emily, oblivious to the situation, loudly belittled me. I worried that the surrounding attendees would sense the tension. Contrary to my desire to get away from them, they hurled more insults at me.
Having poor subcontractors is such a disgrace.
You're out of place. Go home.
Shortly after arriving at the event, I was coldly dismissed. The other attendees looked uneasy, witnessing the arrogance of these two. It's only shameful to associate with such rude and vulgar people. Understood. We've had issues with this client before, and it might finally be time to reconsider our relationship. As they demanded, I decided to withdraw from the social gathering. The next day, I made a call to the client. It was a critical delivery day, costing a significant $20 million. Everyone expected things to proceed smoothly, but in business, a single command can blow everything away. And realizing that I was the one to do it gave me a slight shiver. The parts scheduled for delivery today, please cancel. This cancellation would lead to a major issue. The two who behaved so poorly at the social gathering would face a miserable end. Soon after, I got a call back. It was from Ken.
What's the meaning of this? Canceling the equipment order on the day of delivery. What are you thinking? This is outrageous. Is this how your company operates?
After badmouthing me at the event, now Ken was telling me not to cancel. I remained calm, determined to stand my ground despite his anger. I'm very sorry, Ken. This cancellation is due to unavoidable circumstances, and I deeply apologize.
What unavoidable circumstances? Are you planning to cancel the deal over such a reason? This is ridiculous. You've been benefiting from me since your father's time, and now you repay me like this.
Ken was furious on the other end of the line. But since I had already decided to sever ties, his words didn't affect me. I continued in a steady tone. Actually, there have been numerous complaints about the recent maintenance. This has become a very serious issue. Our customers are facing unresolved equipment problems and growing dissatisfaction with the service quality.
That's impossible. Our company always does its best.
Ken insisted that the maintenance issues were our fault and had no intention of resolving the problem. So I decided to state our position clearly. I'm very sorry, but the complaints have been objectively verified, and it's difficult to deny the facts. Losing customer trust is undesirable for both of us.
If that's true, it's your fault. Why are these complaints coming up? Your company must be deliberately causing dissatisfaction. That's the only explanation.
Realizing any further discussion was pointless, I ended the call after stating the cancellation. Just before I hung up, Ken threatened to sue. However, the next day, events took an unexpected turn. I received a sudden call from Dean Corp's CEO.
First, I want to apologize for any inconvenience caused by our employees. I've received Ken's report about the large cancellation yesterday. However, due to the poor quality of his report, we conducted a thorough investigation to uncover the truth.
The CEO calmly discussed the issues with our business relationship. He focused on uncovering the true cause of the complaints and assessed the situation calmly. I listened quietly to the CEO's explanation.
According to our investigation, it appears that under Ken's instructions, substandard equipment, not part of the official lease agreement, was installed on site. This was confirmed by the employee in charge of the setup.
It turned out that Ken had installed equipment that wasn't part of the contract. I was shocked by this serious breach of contract. In the past, we had agreed to complete the job by sending photos of the setup. But there was one incident where we had a disagreement about this.
We've been performing our tasks reliably so far. Do we really need to keep sending photos?
It's too late to address problems after they've occurred. This is also a matter of trust, so we must insist on it.
You're just as stubborn as your father. It's troublesome that you don't trust us at all.
Ken had instructed the field employees to install prearranged equipment instead of the specified devices, exploiting our agreement. The equipment was Chinese-made, outdated, and not suitable for business use today. Where did he get such substandard equipment? Ken had bought a large amount of discarded equipment from a Chinese company and installed it at my client's site. Moreover, it was revealed that he sold the equipment we leased to that Chinese company, making a huge profit. Ken denied everything.
I have no memory of installing substandard equipment. I ensured the correct items were installed.
Then, could you please retrieve the leased equipment? If they are the right ones, you should be able to collect them from the clients.
That's impossible.
Ken and Emily are now under investigation to uncover the full extent of this matter, and the company plans to hold Ken accountable.
This issue is extremely serious and malicious. It's not just Ken. There's a possibility that Emily was also involved with the Chinese company. It seems they conspired together to smooth over the transactions.
It's just internal corruption. I couldn't be genuinely happy about the current situation, as my suspicions were confirmed. I almost felt overwhelmed, wondering what the point of enduring this relationship had been. The CEO and I had several discussions about how to handle the situation moving forward. His awareness and sincere response to the problems gave me some reassurance, and I vowed to face the upcoming challenges.
First, we will apologize to the companies involved and replace the equipment at no cost. This is our responsibility. Also, we will temporarily hold off on taking new orders. We aim to restore trust without this incident affecting us further.
I understand your intentions. We will do everything possible to resolve the issue and restore trust. We discussed specific action plans, and I promise to cooperate. This incident will likely lead to various reforms, making the company stronger. The CEO asked if I wanted to meet with Ken and Emily, but I refused. I thought meeting them would only lead to more emotional responses, making it harder to stay rational. The CEO understood my reasoning and didn't insist. Apologizing to me wouldn't change the situation. The issue has grown too big and could potentially lead to criminal charges. My only focus is on resolving this quickly and restoring trust. The next day, I contacted all the involved companies and apologized. Fortunately, no clients decided to terminate their contracts, so our performance wasn't negatively affected. Thinking about how close we came to a worse situation if I hadn't found out when I did is frightening. Ironically, it was my frustration at the social gathering and the resulting cancellation that uncovered the problem. Sometimes, acting on your emotions can work out. A few days later, the investigation progressed, and Dean Corp's CEO made a public announcement. Ken and Emily were disciplined. The company filed a complaint with the police, who are now investigating the Chinese company Ken was dealing with. Incidentally, Emily has a history of close ties with Chinese companies, so the police suspect she may also be involved in the fraudulent transactions. Dean Corp's CEO predicted that as soon as the charges against the two are confirmed, the arrest process will begin.
I've been a business owner for a long time, and it's disheartening to discover employee misconduct. Knowing that such actions occurred in the company I built makes me question why I started this company in the first place.
As a fellow business owner, I could understand his sentiment. I inherited my company from my father. If any wrongdoing were found in my company, I would be held responsible. Even if that's not my intention, society moves to hold those in charge accountable. Facing the CEO's sorrowful words, I couldn't offer any comforting words. After some time, fortune smiled upon me. The initial $20 million deal turned out to be an unexpected success, thanks to a meeting with a young CEO who had invited me to the social gathering. We successfully closed the $20 million deal.
Let's grow together from here. Our future is bright.
Truly, light and dark. Not just in business, but the world itself is a mix of happiness and sorrow. The reality of business lurking in the shadows. Sometimes it involves unethical means, swinging between success and failure. The impact of your actions on the world is greatly influenced by your relationships with others. Business proves it's not always clean. When those relationships lack integrity, all that's left is criticism and regret. I want to build a sincere business. I believe that would be my way of repaying my father. Afterward, I reported the whole situation to my father. He was in a care facility and listened with a complex expression whenever I told him about it. During our conversation in his room, he sighed deeply and began to speak.
In the old days, breaking the rules was one way, but now it's different. From now on, we must follow the rules. You can't be the only one benefiting. Serving others, that will be the most important achievement.
Despite his successful career, my father seemed to realize his mistakes. I also believe the company will be expected to serve society in the future. Making money isn't inherently bad, but businesses will need social credibility moving forward. You can't achieve true success by only looking out for yourself.
You know, if you don't like it, you can quit anytime. You don't have to carry on what your parents built. Live the way you want.
What? Dad, are you worried about me? I'm not that upset about this. Not everything I've inherited is bad. Wasn't it harder for you to deal with? He had passed on the company and the connections he built to me. Because of that, he seemed to regret the occurrence of this scandal. He probably thinks he has made his son bear the responsibility that he should have. No one wants to cause trouble for their family. I'll talk to the employees about the company's future. Fortunately, no one seems to want to quit. They're all very loyal, and it's a big help.
That's good. That's really a relief.
When I told him there were no resignations, my father was relieved. Because I thought of the employees as family, I feel they chose to stay. As the second generation, I felt even more determined to do my best. I asked my father to become an advisor. Going forward, I'd be happy if we could think things through together. After discussing with my father, I set a new direction for our company. I wanted to engage in activities that would also contribute to society. So I came up with an idea. Up until now, we've been setting up IT equipment for businesses and local governments. But I thought, why not start a rental service for underprivileged families and lonely individuals? It's still in the planning stage. A success like my father's is a distant dream. But I feel fortunate to pursue something I'm passionate about. As I look to the future, I hope to continue making the world a more convenient place.